LoveLore Library. Chapter 526, The Four Kingdoms Emperors Who Were Scared Off of Their Pants. 9. We really can't fight against. They had surrendered before they even started to fight Feng-Ruching. They had lost the battle, thoroughly. Zhang Yun slowly stood up after he finished crying. He swung his hand and said through his gritted teeth, "Open the gate." Yes. The crowd standing behind him had already opened the door. Zhang Yun's voice spoke when Feng-Ruching was about to enter. "Your Highness, I have some old comrades in the barracks who didn't join the army on their own. They were all forced to be in here. Could you let them return to their homes?" Feng-Ruching stopped and nodded. "I've said that all the soldiers in Luyun Kingdom joined us voluntarily. We don't force." Zhang Yun slowly exhaled. Those who were forced to leave their homes. Finally, they could go back to their homes now. Perhaps, Tianxian Kingdom being annexed by Luyun Kingdom was actually a good thing to the world. Qinger. Nalan Yen gently held Feng-Ruching's hand and smiled. "You did a really great job here." Feng-Ruching smiled and said, "Perhaps, I have always had a good impression for soldiers." "Why?" Nalan Yen asked, surprised. Feng-Ruching lowered her eyes and stayed quiet. "Why?" "It was because she was a citizen of Huaxia. Members of Huaxia have always had a good feeling toward the military. Now, she would definitely give them another chance since her grandfather was a soldier too. She might not be capable of doing that if they were not soldiers. Tianxian Kingdom's emperor was considered far better than Ziyun Kingdom's emperor. At least he did not get frightened by Feng-Ruching and Nalan Yen to the point of fainting. However, his pale face revealed his despair. After they took a tour in Tianxian Kingdom, Feng-Ruching and Nalan headed to the other two kingdoms. Both of the two kingdoms' emperors had already known that they would come. However, they were still scared off of their pants even though they were mentally prepared. After this chaos, the world had come to know that the world did not need to be in any fight anymore. It was because Luyun Kingdom had already unified all the kingdoms. In front of the graves of martyrs within Luyun Kingdom, Nalan Hu raised his hand and poured a glass of spirit wine onto the grave. "Dear fellows, Luyun Kingdom is in peace now, and those people who had invaded us have paid their price too. For this toast, I would like to express my gratitude to all the heroes who had protected our land. First, let's give a toast to the heroes. From now on, war will never happen again. All of you can rest in peace now. We did not let your blood be bled in vain. Second toast, let's wish you're still a member of Luyun in your next life. And for the third toast, since we couldn't spend more time to drink good wines together, I hope many years later, we will be reunited in somewhere else, with the Nalan family." And then, everyone would toast for each other. "Father." Nalan Zhangqian had appeared behind Nalan Hu before anyone noticed. He knew his father was in deep grief. Nalan Zhangqian looked at the spirit wine that Nalan Hu had poured on the ground. His lips twitched but he remained in silence. The heroes of Luyun Kingdom, they deserved the best. Your sister and your cousin should have returned by now. Nalan Hu sighed deeply. Let's go. I won't let go of any of the doggy emperors who brought up the battle. I will use their blood to pray for these souls. And also Lu Rong and the people from the reclusive world, their fresh blood were needed to pour on the heroes' souls. That was what they had owed them. Lu Rong and her daughter haven't died yet. Nalan Hu was a bit surprised. They had been tortured for so many days, how could they be still alive? Chapter 527, The Four Kingdoms Emperors Who Were Scared Off of Their Pants. I guess they have tenacious vitality. Father, haven't you heard of the sentence saying that the good one lives a short life, but the bad one lives for 1,000 years? Lu Rong may not live till the thousands, but she's more tenacious than the other. I guess it will take her several more days to die. Nalan Zhangqian lowered his eyes and continued, she was to be paraded through the streets one every day and tortured by so many people. How lucky that they managed to survive through that and not die yet. Paramount has provided some spirit herbs to prevent them from dying and to live a little longer, just in case the people have no place to vent their anger off, but they have really lived a bit longer than expected. Was the military the only one who wanted to vent their frustration off? There were still a lot of people who had lost their families who would like to do that as well. Someone had to pay for their agony. Nalan Zhangqian only realized what had happened in Luyun Kingdom after he came back. However, the anger in his heart was too strong to suppress even by only hearing those descriptions. If Qing'er had not returned in time, Luyun Kingdom must have already been destroyed. If it were not because of the help from that little girl Tang Yin, his wife and daughter would almost have left him alone in the world. He would never be capable of bearing such a pain. Therefore, he could not express his gratitude toward Tang Yin with words. He was so grateful to the extent that he already cared no more for General Manor's main door that the little girl had destroyed back then. It's actually good that they're alive. Nalan Hu laughed twice, coldly. Hasn't she been hating Yen'er since she was deliberately leading Qing'er astray? She had been abetting Qing'er to the point where Qing'er didn't listen to us anymore. Because of that, you bring them to see Yen'er when she's back. He paused for a while before he continued. When she meets Yen'er, there's no more reason for them to be alive. There was some hatred where the old general could never let go for the rest of his life. He could not forgive Lu Rong for tricking his son-in-law. Also, he could never forgive her for everything she had done to Qing'er. If she had thought Yen'er was already dead, then he would let Yen'er appear alive in front of her again. To let her die in nightmare and in terror. To let her heart tremble whenever she heard of the name, Nalan Yen, in her next life. No matter how many afterlives she was going to live, she would never show up in front of them again. Okay. Nalan Zhangqian replied as his eyes sank. He seemed to think of something and asked hesitantly. Oh, by the way, father, why is Feng Rushuang not His Majesty's daughter? How do you know it? Why am I not aware of it? Nalan Hu's face went stiff, and he coughed twice, awkwardly. I've only found that out a few days before. Back then, you were still in the frontier, so it's normal that you don't know. He would never tell his son that because Feng Ruqing had painted him black by telling him that Nalan Hu was a person who could not keep a secret. Therefore, he did not tell him about that. Oh, I've always wanted to ask you about an important matter too. Isn't the spirit wine very precious stuff? Why do I always feel that your spirit wine is inexhaustible? Nalan Zhangqian frowned as he asked, hesitantly. Nalan Hu's body became stiff this time. He laughed out loud and replied, grinning. Oh, this. I'm just a little luckier because I've always bumped into that spirit wine hawker. Therefore, I've bought a lot back home. Nalan Zhangqian replied admiringly. You and Qing'er often meet the spirit wine hawker, Dyer also meets the spirit fruit hawker. Why am I the only who couldn't meet any of them? Father, where did you meet them? I think I might try my luck at the place too. Hee hee. Nalan Hu forced out a laugh and patted Nalan Zhangqian's shoulders. The hawker goes to different places every time so you can't find him. Also, luck is something that you can never be envious of. Even if you punched him to death, he would never tell him that it was her granddaughter who had given him the spirit wine. Just in case this little fellow would bother Qing'er and trick all of the spirit wine from her. Chapter 528, He is here for revenge. Nalan Zhangqian's face turned stiff. However, all he could do was to sigh as he knew his father was telling him the truth. Father, please tell me if you ever meet the hawker again next time. I'd like to know him too. But then, Nalan Hu was already headed toward the city without giving him any reply. It was dark and wet inside the prison. Lu Rong huddled on the floor. Her hair was messy as her face was still covered in dry brownish bloodstain. It seemed like she had not been cleaning herself for quite a while. Feng Rishuang was barely conscious next to her, but her eyes were still filled with evil intent. "Mother, it's all because of you." Feng Rishuang gritted her teeth tightly. "It's all your fault. If it weren't because of you, I wouldn't be in such a situation either. Why did you lie to me?" The corners of Lu Rong's lips lifted into a bitter smile. She was wrong. She was really wrong. Back then, she should not have colluded with Gu Zhenyang, so she would not have been in such a situation, and also, she would not have given birth to this daughter. "Both of you are women, but why do you always lose to Nailan Yen?" "Why?" Feng Rishuang sounded hateful. She would not have become a captive if Lu Rong was not that useless. It was all because of Lu Rong, it was all her fault. Lu Rong's throat was a bit dry as something bitter spread in her mouth too. She wrapped her hands around her knees and sneered. "I'm not as good as Nailan Yen in every way, but so what? Didn't you lose to Feng Ruqing too?" "Mother." Feng Rushuang's face turned pale. She lifted her head and looked at Lu Rong in disbelief. She could not believe that even when her mother knew well that losing to Feng Ruqing was always her insecurity, yet her mother still purposely mentioned it. Creak. The prison's door was pushed open. A guard walked through the door and said coldly, "Lu Rong, Feng Rishuang, both of you can get out now." Lu Rong's body went stiff. Fear and sorrow filled her eyes. This was something she had to endure every day. Each day, this group of people would bring them out from the cell and go for a parade in the streets. Then, both of them would be insulted and hurt by the peasants. She had suffered enough. Really enough. The only mistake she had made in her whole life was to have Feng Rishuang with Gu Zhenyang. However, she had never regretted being Feng Tianyu's concubine. Lu Rong did not go against the heartless guards while facing them. She straightened herself and walked out of the cell just like a robot. Feng Rishuang fell to her knees in front of the guards. Her voice trembled as her eyes were filled with hope. "Has my father returned? Has he returned yet? I want to see him, I want to see him." After all these years, even a man would at least grow some affection to a dog he had been raising. She could not believe that her father would really be that cruel to her since she was his daughter for more than 10 years. The guard looked at Feng Rushuang's face with a sneer. "Our emperor is not someone you can simply meet. You've betrayed Lu Yun Kingdom. Therefore, you have to bear the punishment for what you've done. However, someone wants to see you guys today. It's better if you guys follow me to see that person." Lu Rong was shocked. Did somebody want to see them? In Lu Yun Kingdom, who else would still want to see them now? Within the Supreme Princess Manor. Two little girls hurried toward Feng Ruqing when she had just entered the manor. At that moment, when Lu Li noticed the girl next to Feng Ruqing, she was stunned as her eyes flashed with surprise, astonishment, and disbelief. Chapter 529. He is here for revenge. To Your Majesty, Empress Nailan. Her Majesty is still alive. Why is she here? Lu Li's body shook violently. Her eyes were flooded with tears. She was afraid that the person who stood before her eyes was merely an illusion and would vanish in the next second. "You are Lu Li, aren't you? Qin'er told me before that you are still by her side. I haven't seen you for years. You have grown up now." Nailan Yen smiled. "Your Majesty, Empress Nailan." It was true that Her Majesty, Empress Nailan was here. Lu Li was shedding tears of joy. She did not know why Nailan Yen was still alive and who was actually buried in the mausoleum. However, she knew that the Empress of Lu Yun Kingdom was still alive. That was enough. "Your Majesty, Empress Nailan. Qing Ling lost in wonder. Simply no one ever thought that the Empress of Lu Yun Kingdom would return to the kingdom. As the news that Nailan Yan was still alive was too crucial, Feng Tianyu did not make an announcement. He had decided to do that when Nailan Yan had returned to Lu Yun Kingdom. Lu Li and Qing Ling, did anything happen in the princess manor when I was not around? Feng Ruqing asked with smiling eyes. Your Highness, nothing has happened when you were away from the manor. However, I heard that Lu Yuchen had a quarrel with the people of the Lu family and has moved out of the Chancellor Manor together with Tan Shuangshuang. After pondering for a while, Lu Li answered respectfully. Feng Ruqing was rendered speechless. She did not want to know anything about Lu Yuchen. Lu Yuchen was nothing but a stranger. There was no hatred and simply nothing between them. However, there were a few times when I saw Lu Yuchen outside the Princess Manor. He does not walk near the manor. He just stands there for the whole day and only leaves when the sky is dark. I am telling you as I am thinking that he might be plotting something evil. Lu Li blinked. Feng Ruqing cocked her brow. Even though she did not know what was in Lu Yuchen's mind, it must be something evil. No matter what, Feng Ruqing will never meet him again. Lu Yuchen. The Lu family that has forced you to take your own life. Nailan Yan frowned, her face darkened. Mother, could you please stop talking about this for the sake of my reputation? Your Majesty, Empress Nailan, that bastard Lu Yuchen had divorced Her Highness and had almost taken Her Highness' life. Hearing this, Qing Ling flew into anger and gritted her teeth hard. Qinger, you have gotten married and he has divorced you? Nailan Yan's face grew even darker. Well, I can explain this. Feng Ruqing turned her head and shot Qing Ling a warning glance. Your Majesty, Empress Nailan, that is not all. Tan Shuangshuang has always gone to the Chancellor Manor even though she knew that Lu Yuchen had married Her Highness. The two of them are truly shameless. Seeing Feng Ruqing's eyes, Qing Ling did not stop talking but took a step forward and continued. Qing Ling. Keep your mouth shut. Qing Ling had completely ruined Feng Ruqing's reputation. Your Highness, aren't you the one who want me to say this? I have seen the signal in your eyes. Qing Ling pouted in grievance. What can I do to this empty-headed servant? Feng Ruqing was dumbfounded. Mother, I did something wrong back then and I don't blame them. We don't belong together. I have straightened those things out. Moreover, I am the one who has divorced him, not the other way round. Feng Ruqing turned her head only to see Nailan Yan's gloomy face. She held on to Nailan Yan's hand gently. Chapter 530. He is here for revenge. 3. Hearing this, Nailan Yan felt slightly relieved. Since Lu Yuchen is not a good match for you, don't meet with the people from the Lu family in the future. They are unworthy of such honor. Although Nailan Yan did not know what had actually happened back then, it was human nature to protect her own family. She knew that her daughter had suffered a great deal of pain. Since her daughter had decided to let it go, naturally, Nailan Yan would not hold on to it. However, she would never let Feng Ruqing associate herself with the Lu family. Certainly. I have someone on my mind and that's absolutely not Lu Yuchen. Feng Ruqing said with a bright smile on her face. In fact, Feng Ruqing could tell from the old princess' memories that the old princess was not truly in love with Lu Yuchen. It was Feng Ruishuang who had made the old princess feel well-disposed toward Lu Yuchen and want to marry him. It was all because of Lu Rong and Feng Ruishuang. As Feng Ruqing did not like splitting the loving couple apart, as long as both Lu Yuchen and Tan Shuangshuang did not mess with her, she would never hurt them. However, if they dared to mess around as they did before, they must pay for the things that they have done. Naturally, she would never let them off easily. Outside the Princess Manor, Lu Rong was standing at the door, staring at Nailan Yan and Feng Ruqing who were talking animatedly. Burning with jealousy, she clenched her fists tightly. Bang! The guard gave her a kick. Lu Rong lost her balance and fell on her knees. Lu Rong could feel the pain in her knees, but what hurt her most was the humiliation. Hearing the commotion behind her, Nailan Yen turned her head only to see Lu Rong and Feng Rushuang. At this time, Lu Rong raised her head. Her eyes met Nailan Yan's. Seeing Nailan Yan's face, Lu Rong was slightly startled and furious jealousy crept into her eyes. It had been more than 10 years since the last time Lu Rong had met Nailan Yan. It seemed as if time did not leave its traces on Nailan Yan's face. Although she was skinny, she still looked young and stunning. Lu Rong reached out to the wrinkles at the corner of her eye. Her heart was full of sorrow and grief. She was old. She had lost her beauty, but Nailan Yan was still gorgeous. It was natural that Gu Xinyang and Feng Tianyu could not let go of her. At this time, Lu Rong started to regret the things that she had done. She regretted that she went against Nailan Yan. Not only had she ruined her own life, but she had also even put the entire Lu family into trouble. Nailan Yan, I have totally lost to you. Lu Rong laughed softly as tears broke free from her eyes. Her heart was overflowing with bitterness. Nailan Yan did not utter a word and merely stared at Lu Rong quietly. If there is an afterlife, I will never fight with you again. I am completely worn out. Fatigue was etched onto Lu Rong's worn face. Nailan Yan walked up to Lu Rong slowly and looked down at her with a pair of calm and bright eyes. Lu Rong, you are wrong. I have never fought with you. You are not worth my time and effort. Lu Rong's lips slightly trembled and she was lost for words. That was ridiculous. Lu Rong had regarded Nailan Yan as her lifetime's opponent, but Nailan Yan claimed that she had never fought with Lu Rong, that it was all her wishful thinking. Lu Rong, I can forgive you for all the things you have done to get into the palace and the way you have insulted me, but I can never forgive you for laying your hands on my husband, daughter, and many other innocent people. Chapter 531, He is here for revenge. For even if you regret the things that you did now, it makes no difference. Both you and Gu Xinyang have to pay for the things that you have done. Nailan Yan's eyes were cold and piercing, her face was indifferent. The same for Gu Xinyang. If Nailan Yan forgave him, what about the warriors and the civilians who had lost their lives? If Nailan Yan let go of them, how could she confront the warriors in the underworld when she died? Hearing this, Lu Rong's body slumped to the floor. Her face was drained of color, the corners of her lips curved into a sneer. I don't want to see them. Take them out and penalize them accordingly. Just let the public do whatever they want to them. Nailan Yan swung her hand, her face was cold and nonchalant. Lu Rong did not utter a word and allowed the guard to take her out. Your Majesty, Empress Nailan, it's all my mother's fault. I am innocent. Please have mercy on me. Please let me go. No matter what, I am still His Majesty's adopted daughter. He has raised me for years, he would not be able to bear to see me suffer. Feng Rushuang walked up to Nailan Yan as she cried. A glimmer of viciousness flashed through Nailan Yan's eyes. She gave Feng Rushuang a kick at her chest and sent her flying out of the manor. Feng Rushuang, I have almost forgotten how you have led my daughter astray all these years. You induced my daughter to do something evil and pushed all the responsibility to her, so you could be the most innocent person. Naturally, you must not die. Nailan Yan smirked. Tie Feng Rushuang at the city's gate and tell everyone what she had done all these years. I want to get justice for the victims, Nailan Yan said with a hint of cruelty in her voice. As Nailan Yan did not watch her daughter grow up, Feng Ruching had suffered a great deal of pain and grievances. Hence, she would never let go of the people who had harmed Feng Ruching. No. You can't do this to me. Feng Rishuang flew into a great panic. As soon as she finished her words, she was forcefully dragged out the manor. Under the brilliant sunlight, Feng Rishuang's hoarse voice lingered in the air, long after she had left. Feng Ruqing was still looking in the direction where Feng Rishuang had left. Feeling that someone was staring at her, she turned her head just in time to see a graceful young master come into her vision. Seeing him, her eyes narrowed as she kept her guard up. Lu Li is right. Lu Yuchen must have something evil in his mind. Otherwise, why does he keep watching the princess manor? Lu Li, did Xiao Yin do anything to Lu Yuchen recently? Young lady Tang Yin had never been to the Lu family or met Lu Yuchen. Lu Li shook her head. Then, Lu Yuchen must have known that Xiao Yin and cousin Nailan Jing had set fire to the Chancellor Manor earlier. He is here for revenge. All of you must keep an eye on him. If he dares to lay his hand on the Princess Manor, set the spirit beasts on him. Not far away, Lu Yuchen was staring affectionately at Feng Ruqing. His gentle eyes filled with regrets. She is back. It was a pity that Lu Yuchen had lost the chance to walk near Feng Ruqing. He could never do that for the rest of his life. However, when Lu Yuchen's eyes met hers, his heart skipped a beat and had nearly stopped pounding. He did not know why he could feel that Feng Ruqing seemed so defensive when she looked at him as if he would set fire to the Princess Manor. Lu Yuchen smiled wryly as he shook his head. He must have been mistaken. Since he did not do anything, why would Feng Ruqing look at him so warily? Chapter 532. Don't panic. Feng Ruqing turned her head and walked into the manor. She did not notice that Lu Yuchen was still standing there, watching her affectionately. Only when the sun had set, Lu Yuchen closed his eyes reluctantly and turned to walk toward a tavern located on another side of the street. There was a manor located on the left side of the street. It was the manor that Lu Yuchen had bought for Tan Shuangshuang. Naturally, it did not belong to the Chancellor's family. Little did Lu Yuchen know, it had now become the only place he could go. Tan Shuangshuang was standing at the entrance, watching the street. Not long after, Lu Yuchen in a rich intricate brocade came to sight with a strong smell of wine on his breath. Yuchen, you went for a drink. Do you really want to do that for the rest of your life? You have always been a filial son. You really do not want to return to the Chancellor Manor because of something so trivial. Tan Shuangshuang merely frowned, hid her emotions, and slowly walked up to Lu Yuchen. Lu Yuchen's eyes narrowed and pushed Tan Shuangshuang away. He looked disdainfully at the lady before him with a sneer on his face. Tan Shuangshuang, I thought you couldn't get along with my mother. Why do you want to bring my parents and me back together? Nothing should come between you and your family. Moreover, no matter what Lady Lu has done to me, I have never hated her. Why are you saying that? Tan Shuangshuang's heart skipped a beat as she pursed her lips together. Ha! Lu Yuchen let out a boisterous laugh. Tears ran free from his eyes, ran down his handsome face. Tan Shuangshuang, if you don't hate her, why would you put a cursed doll under the bed? Tan Shuangshuang looked up at Lu Yuchen, a flicker of fear crossed her pale face. She had always hidden it very carefully. How did Lu Yuchen find out? Yuchen, I didn't do that, I didn't. Stunned, Tan Shuangshuang reached out to hold Lu Yuchen's hand. Tan Shuangshuang, since you have lost shelter at the Tan family, you want me to get back to the Chancellor Manor because you want to be my wife, don't you? Well, forget about this. I will never return to the Chancellor Manor. It is such a humiliation to me. Also, I know that you hate me. Lu Yuchen pushed Tan Shuangshuang to the ground forcefully as he smirked. Tan Shuangshuang could feel the sting on her scraped hands and knees, but what hurt her the most was the pain in her heart. It was true that she hated Lu Yuchen. She hated that Lu Yuchen had chosen Lady Lu and gave up on her in the spirit herb store. However, no matter how much she hated him, she still loved him. She showed great affection and devotion to Lu Yuchen all these years, but in the end, she did not get anything. Yuchen, have you forgotten your promise? If not for Feng Ruching, we won't be in such a sorry state. It is all her fault. Tan Shuangshuang got up from the ground as she smiled. Her eyes were full of resentment and bitterness. Had it not been for Feng Ruching, Tan Shuangshuang would have become Lu Yuchen's wife. All the things happened after that would never have happened. It was all because of Feng Ruching. With a deep and brooding resentment in her heart, Tan Shuangshuang clenched her fists tightly. Her face was contorted with rage. Lu Yuchen stared blankly at Tan Shuangshuang. It was the first time he saw her contorted face. Perhaps this was the real Tan Shuangshuang. He was wrong. He had actually thought that Tan Shuangshuang was the woman he wanted to spend his whole life with. Chapter 533, Don't Panic too, Tan Shuangshuang, we can't keep blaming others. We, ourselves, are to be blamed. It is my fault that I did not see your true colors. Moreover, our love is not strong enough. If our love was strong, I would still love you no matter who you are. Lu Yuchen regained his composure and walked up to Tan Shuangshuang slowly. Tan Shuangshuang's body shook violently. Her eyes were full of sorrow as tears streamed down her face. Lu Yuchen, we have been together for so many years, but you are saying that our love is not strong enough. All your love and promises back then are nothing but lies. Yes. The corners of Lu Yuchen's lips lifted as he smirked. As if struck by lightning, Tan Shuangshuang stumbled backward in despair. She stared blankly at the man who stood nonchalantly before her. She could feel the pain as if hundreds of thousands of needles were pierced through her heart. She did not even have a feeling so strong when Lu Yuchen had given up on her at the spirit herb store back then. She knew that Lu Yuchen had chosen his mother as he was too filial, but deep in his heart, he still cared for her. However, the man whom she loved and had waited for so many years was actually telling her that everything that had happened before was just a lie. Tan Shuangshuang broke into laughter and gradually, her laughter grew louder. As she laughed, tears streamed down her face. Lu Yuchen, I thought we would be together forever. Even if I knew that I might offend Feng Ruching, I still stayed by your side. I have never thought that you would be so ruthless and not even spare me a little of your love for me. The corner of Tan Shuangshuang's lips curved into a sneer. Lu Yuchen's eyes fell on Tan Shuangshuang's face. He could not help but sigh softly and patted her shoulder slightly. Shuangshuang, you can stay in this manner if you have nowhere to go. Whatever you do has nothing to do with me. You mind your own business and I'll mind mine. If you find someone better, marry him. Startled, Tan Shuangshuang let out a boisterous laugh. Tears continued streaming down her face. Her eyes were filled with sorrow. Guess what? Somehow, silence is better than words. You actually want me to marry someone else. I have been with you since I was young. We have been together for 5 whole years. It is such a long time. Lu Yuchen, how can you be so ruthless? As Tan Shuangshuang said that, she started screaming her heart out with a profound sorrow in her voice as she ended her sentence. If they were not meant to be together, why did he pursue her back then? She was almost 20 now. Without power and a strong foothold in the kingdom, who else could she marry? She could only be someone else's concubine. She did not even want to be Lu Yuchen's concubine back then. She had rather stay with him without marrying him. Now, she had actually come to a state where she could only be someone else's concubine. Why could Feng Ruching live such a splendid life and stand aloof from the masses, but Tan Shuangshuang was the one to fall into such a sorry state? Was it just because Feng Ruching was of royal descent and Tan Shuangshuang was just the daughter of a grand tutor? Lu Yuchen thought Tan Shuangshuang would leave him by doing this. However, seeing Tan Shuangshuang's sorrowful face, his heart softened. He could not bear to hurt her anymore. Shuangshuang, it has nothing to do with phone ruching. She never looked for me ever since we split. We were the ones who always meshed with her. Otherwise, we wouldn't have fallen into such a sorry state. It is true that she had brought us a lot of troubles before, but she did not do anything wrong after that. Chapter 534. Don't Panic 3. Lu Yuchen finally realized that it was all their fault. However, it was too late. Feng Ruching and Lu Yuchen would never get back together. Yuchen, if I don't blame Feng Ruching and I never look for her again, could we get back to the way we were? Tan Shuangshuang stared longingly at Lu Yuchen. Slightly startled, Lu Yuchen did not utter a word for a long while. Seeing Lu Yuchen's face, Tan Shuangshuang knew the answer. She looked down to hide the resentment in her eyes. Yuchen, I understand. I will stay here and never bother you again. Thank you for giving me a place to stay. As soon as Tan Shuangshuang finished speaking, she turned to walk straight into the courtyard. For a few times, Lu Yuchen wanted to say something but he bit back the words. He simply watched her leave, gradually disappearing from his sight. Far away, at the foot of a hill, White Phoenix was completely worn out as it sat on the ground, panting. Its beautiful white feathers were ruffled. "See, we are finally here. Since both of us are not familiar with this place, we should not simply leave the hill. It would be better if we inform Nan Xian." They had spent so much effort to reach the foot of the hill, let alone the place that they had never been before. "I can't wait any longer." Si furrowed her brows as she said blandly. "We can't even tell east from west, how are we to know the route to that place? How do we get Xiaoqingqing?" White Phoenix had nearly burst into tears. "Don't sweat the small stuff. How could you handle a big deal in the future?" Si was calm and very much at ease. The White Phoenix wiped off the tiny beads of sweat from her forehead. Its eyes swept across her clenched fist. "You are not panicking but your feet are shaking anxiously." Currently, Si felt that her mind was a mess, her vision was cloudy. She did not know where to go. If Nan Xian is here, that would be so great. At least, Si would not feel like the whole world was spinning around her. Si, suddenly, a familiar voice drifted into her ears. She quickly came back to her senses. She turned around nonchalantly, her eyes were extremely cold. In a flash, a familiar face came into her vision. She had not seen him for more than a decade. He had changed from an immature young master to a composed man. However, his eyes were still deep and lustrous. It was his eyes that she had fallen for and had suffered a great deal of pain before she finally awakened to the truth. Seeing the man, the White Phoenix lost its mind and pushed Si behind it as if protecting its own kid. Its eyes were blazing with rage and fixed at the man before it. "Si, I have finally found you. You have been hiding from me for years. Let's go back together with me. The old master misses you so badly." The man walked towards Si with a faint smile on his face. "Go back? If I go back, what would you do to that lady and the kids you have with her?" The man did not have any effect on her heart. She was still calm and composed. "Si, why are you always prejudiced against Qing Yin? She has never done anything wrong. You are my wife. Naturally, I will take care of you. The same goes to her. Both Qing Yin and I grew up together, but I did not make her my first wife. What else do you want me to do?" The man frowned slightly. Chapter 535. Don't Panic 4. In other words, what the man actually meant was, since Si was his first wife, why was she not satisfied? Why she still did not let go of Qin Yin? Sui stared at the man with emotionlessly. She knew that she would meet this man once she got down the hill. However, he came way sooner than expected. This man was still as annoying as he always was. You can make her your first wife. I don't mind. Sui swung her sleeve. Sui could not wait to leave. Even looking at the man made her feel sick, as if eating a mouthful of feces. Sui. Startled, Mu Ling reached out to hold Sui's hand. Seeing this, the white phoenix roared and it breathed out a ferocious flame. Its eyes blazed with rage. Idiot! How dare you harass Sui before me? Your pet is truly hot-tempered. Seeing the flame, Mu Ling took a few steps back, but he did not lose his temper and only smiled faintly. Pet! Exploded with rage, flames spurted from the white phoenix's mouth once again. The white phoenix was not a pet. It was an ambitious phoenix and it wanted to marry Sui. Mu Ling did not even spare a glance at the white phoenix. It was nothing but a phoenix that was not fully grown. However, Mu Ling did not walk near Sui and only said, helplessly, Sui, are you still angry with me? I have tasked someone to be here to wait for you more than a decade. Once you get down the hill, I would have rushed here for you. Is that not enough? Tell me what else you want me to do. Well, I have something to tell you. Sui turned her head around with a faint smile on her face. What is it about? You can just tell me. Mu Ling was thrilled. Nan Xian will decide on his own marriage. No one from the Mu family should interfere. Nan Xian was the only person she cared for her whole life. She wanted the person she loved to live a blissful life. Previously, Nan Xian was her one and only. After he is married, naturally, Nan Xian would not be the only one she cared about. In your dream. No one in the Mu family can decide on his own marriage. It's the Mu family's rule. A marriage is always arranged by one's parents. Mu Ling frowned. As the old master of the Mu family did not like Qin Yin, Mu Ling did not marry her but married Sui instead after the old master of the Mu family had agreed. Since Mu Ling did not go against the Mu family's master and had made Qin Yin his concubine, why should Nan Xian be allowed to decide on his own marriage? Moreover, based on the Mu family's rule, no one could get a concubine without a first wife. Hence, Sui married Mu Ling as she knew that Mu Ling did not have a concubine. She thought that he was a man who was loyal to his wife. As Mu Ling could not read Sui's mind, he had never thought that Sui would be so defensive and leave the Mu family when Mu Ling wanted to make Qin Yin his concubine. Mu Ling felt as if a lump was rising in his throat. It was normal for a man to have multiple wives in this realm. Previously, Nan Xian did not have a wife. Naturally, Mu Ling did not force him to take a concubine. However, after Nan Xian had a principal wife, Mu Ling would pick a few ladies to be his concubines. Sui's cold gaze was fixed on Mu Ling. Really? It seems that I need to go to the Mu family. I want to see who, in the Mu family, can force him to marry a lady that he doesn't love. Her eyes were cold and piercing, her face was nonchalant. Chapter 536, Don't Panic. Sui would certainly return to the Mu family. However, she had something more important to do now. Sui, stop messing around. I am patient and sincere enough. Previously, you left the Mu family because I took a concubine. Now, you don't want me to get Nan Xian a wife. Sui, you truly think I would be patient with you forever? Mu Ling frowned. Oh, previously, both you and Qin Yin could get along quite well. What has actually happened between both of you? Mu Ling was slightly pissed off. It's because I was too silly and you have hidden your relationship with Qin Yin very well back then. Moreover, I treated her well as she is your cousin. In fact, I wish that I will never meet her again for the rest of my life. Do you truly think we were on good terms? Sui squinted at him coldly. Sui, please give me a chance and go back together with me. I will take good care of Nan Xian. I will never hurt him again. The thing that happened back then has nothing to do with Qin Yan. I know her very well. She will never hurt anyone without a reason. Mu Ling's face darkened. He was afraid that Sui would run away out of anger. Hence, he softened his tone. Sui walked up to Mu Ling slowly, the corner of her lips curved up into a smile. She didn't do that. So Nan Xian was the one who played the breath-holding game and had nearly died from it. Nan Xian was only 4 years old back then. Naturally, a 4-year-old kid was not as strong as he was now. As a mother, Sui did not take good care of him. When she knew that Mu Ling wanted to take a concubine, her heart was broken. She tried to stop him but she was not successful. Read the next chapter on our VIP novel. As the Mu family's master had always treated her extremely well and his health was declining, Sui could not bear to part with him. When someone had nearly killed her son that she treated as her own life, she could no longer bear it and had left the Mu family together with Nan Xian. As the saying goes, women are weak, but mothers are strong. Her son was her everything. Since the Mu family was a toxic place, she did not want her son to get hurt even the slightest bit. No matter how well the Mu family's master treated her, no one could hurt her son. Now, everything was the same. Her son, her daughter-in-law, and her future grandchildren would never follow her path. No one could hurt them. Sui, you have wronged Qin Yan. Someone sneaked into the Mu family and wanted to hurt my son to take revenge on me back then. It has nothing to do with Qin Yan. Mu Ling's brows furrowed tightly. Oh. It doesn't matter. I have never thought that you would avenge my son. I will avenge him on my own. Sui raised her head. Her eyes were as cold as the moonlight. Sui was severely injured and her strength had declined in order to save Mu Ling back then. Otherwise, she would not have left the Mu family together with Nan Xian. Thinking of this, her heart was filled with regret, but her face was still as calm as the cold, bright moon. Oh yeah, Sui paused for a while. You don't need to look for me. I will go back to the Mu family as soon as possible. As you are aware, the old master is severely ill. Both you and your concubine please don't visit him. Have you forgotten why he is ill? Sui thought of something and continued, also, you said that marriage is always arranged by parents with the help of matchmakers. However, the old master did not agree for you to take a concubine yet. You and your concubine had actually ignored him, causing him to pass out from rage. Since you went against the old master, why would you think that you have the right to take charge of Nan Xian's life? Chapter 537, The Emperor Who Ran Away. Taking a concubine is not the same as taking a first wife. The old master's consent is not required for taking a concubine. However, the first wife must be arranged by the parents. Mu Ling's face slightly darkened. Hearing your words, I feel like I am not Nan Xian's parent. Since Nan Xian's marriage is to be arranged by his parents, as his mother, I'll take charge of his marriage. He can marry whomever he likes, Sui said with a faint smile on her face. Sui, since you are not willing to go back, naturally, you are not part of the Mu family. If you would go back together with me, you might be able to arrange his marriage. Hearing Sui's words, Mu Ling had nearly burst with rage. However, seeing Sui's cold face, he calmed down a little. No matter what, Sui must return to the Mu family together with Mu Ling. This time, she must not leave him. They had been separated for years and he had been missing her for more than a decade. Unfortunately, Nan Xian's surname is not Mu. He is not part of the Mu family. The people of the Mu family can never control his life, Sui said, flatly. Just like Sui, no one could force Nan Xian to do the things that he did not like. Mu Ling had truly reckoned without his host. Sui, why do you still not get me? Everything that I do it for Nan Xian. Moreover, Tang Yin is a special lady. It would be extremely good for Nan Xian if he marries her. Mu Ling clenched his fists tightly. Tang Yin. The two words were buzzing in the White Phoenix's ears. The White Phoenix knew that Mu Ling had gotten Nan Xian a betrothed from the Tang family. However, it did not know that Tang Yin was the one. If the White Phoenix was not mistaken, the lady who took the White Phoenix's feather was also called Tang Yin. The White Phoenix's body stiffened. It remembered Tang Yin said that Nan Xian was her love rival. Although White Phoenix did not know since when Nan Xian had become Tang Yin's love rival, nor did it understand the relationship between Tang Yin and Feng Ruqing, it knew that Tang Yin held grudges against Nan Xian. This bastard wants Nan Xian to marry Tang Yin. Mu Ling, your marriage has nothing to do with me, but if you dare to stop Nan Xian from chasing his happiness, I will kill you at all cost. Sui smiled coldly. Sui, how did we come to this state? Sui's words were as if dealing a blow at Mu Ling's heart. He could feel a prickling pain at his heart. Both Mu Ling and Sui were so in love with each other before. How did they come into such a sorry state? Idiot! The White Phoenix's heart was trembling with rage and it spurted a ferocious flame once again. Mu Ling did not dodge the flame and merely stared at Sui. Only when the flame had reached him did he raise his arm to dodge the flame. Originally, Mu Ling thought that the flame was nothing. However, when his arm touched the flame, he could feel a burning sensation on his arm. Seeing the back of his hand that was burnt, he put his hand at his back. His eyes were icy cold. Even if the White Phoenix was not fully grown up, it was capable of hurting Mu Ling. When it was completely grown, even the entire Mu family would not be able to handle it. However, this White Phoenix was Sui's pet. Hence, Mu Ling simply could not do anything to it. You had it coming. It was you who had caused both of you to be in such a sorry state. Now, you even want Nan Xian to follow your path. Luckily, Nan Xian is not like you. If he really were to take a concubine and Xiao Qingqing was to leave him, serves him right then. The White Phoenix stared at Mu Ling with its taunting eyes. Chapter 538. The Emperor who ran away to Xiao Qingqing was flawless and perfect. If Nan Xian did not cherish her like his father, then he would be the first one to not let him off. Mu Ling's eyes became colder. He had allowed Nan Xian to freewheel for so many years. It seemed that Nan Xian had really found a woman outside. He would like to see why Nan Xian was so obsessed with her, so much so that even Sui also sided her. White Phoenix stomped his feet angrily. Dickhead, I don't care a shit about how many wives other people have. Sui is such a great woman. She deserves a complete love. You, humans are so complex. Unlike the Feng clan, each of us has only one wife that is recognized for life. While saying this, the White Phoenix could not help but look at Sui. If she married it would only take her as a wife. It would only let her give birth to its child. However, Sui did not respond. Perhaps she only thought of him as a small phoenix in her eyes. The White Phoenix was frustrated and he licked his lips. When would he become a human? He was worried that there's some other dickheads would courting Sui. Mu Ling. Sui smiled and she licked her lips. She had no feelings for him like before. She was as indifferent as watching a stranger. There is nothing else to say. I cannot afford to waste time with you now as I still need to look for someone important. Looking for someone important? So, could she not stay with him for a while? She could not even go back with him. Mu Ling urged flatly. Sui ignored him. She then leaped and landed on the white phoenix's body. There is someone whom I dislike here, let's go. Someone whom she dislikes. The white phoenix's resentment and anger suddenly disappeared after hearing Sui's words. He glowed. Sui, where are we going? We are going to Luyun Kingdom. Where is Luyun Kingdom? Nan Xian said that we will reach Luyun Kingdom if we keep going east. But which way is east? Sui was silent for a while. What about just flying freely? Okay, Sui. White Phoenix's figure suddenly turned into a lightning bolt before it darted forward. In the blink of an eye, it disappeared right in front of Mu Ling. Mu Ling clenched his fists tightly, and his eyes were filled with determination. Sui. I believe that you will come back sooner or later. He did not believe that Sui, who once loved him deeply, would give up on him so easily. Since she could not trust Qin Yan, he would separate her from Qin Yan. He would not let them meet at all. Then, she did not have to worry about so many things. This was already his concession, which was also the most ideal way. Mu Ling snorted coldly. Haning. Young master. A black-shirt guard fell from the sky and was behaving respectfully. Go find out the identity of the woman whom Nan Xian is obsessed with. If her identity or talent is pretty good, then it would be fine for her to be Nan Xian's wife. If not, Mu Ling had a headache and rubbed his temples. He sighed helplessly. Just let her be Nan Xian's concubine, this is also compensation to Sui and her son. Yes, young master. Haning turned around wanting to leave. Wait. Mu Ling frowned deliberately. Is the old master healthy when I am not around? Haning was startled and replied truthfully. The old master's condition is good and bad. Sometimes he is sober, sometimes, he cannot even recognize Lady Qin Yan. Chapter 539, The Emperor Who Ran Away. 3. When he was sober, the old master would grab things to throw at Qin Yan. When he was confused, he could not recognize anyone and would just toss around like an old child. Qin Yan, she, young master. Lady Qin Yan is still the same as usual. No matter how the old master treats her, she still serves him well, preparing meals and feeding him medicine. She even visits many places to buy the spirit herbs for him just to make him feel better. Mu Ling's heart suddenly hurt, and his eyes were filled with sympathy. She has suffered all these years. I often come here to wait for Sui. Yet, she has no complaints about it and continues serving my father at home. But father, if it was not for that incident, maybe his father would not have hated Qin Yan so much. At that time, Qin Yan's mother, who was also his aunt, gave his mother a medicine that would cause dystocia. His mother died when she gave birth to his brother. His second brother was lucky enough to survive, but he had always been sick and could never go outside. His father had investigated it for a long time, but still, he did not find out who the culprit was. Until many years later. Eldest aunt accidentally revealed that she was the one who had poisoned her sister. His mother was dead. How could he not hate her? He hated his eldest aunt. No, that vicious woman was not worthy to be his eldest aunt. Nevertheless, Qin Yan was innocent. At that time, Qin Yan was only 2 or 3 years old. What could she know? If Qin Yan knew that the woman would poison his mother, she would certainly stop it due to her kindness. Therefore, the previous generation's hatred should not be suffered by the next generation. Qin Yan had been working hard for his family for many years and had children for the family. He could never marry her as a wife due to his father's objection. She could only be his concubine. She had endured so much, was it not enough? Why did his father still hurt her when he was sober? Even Suyi was willful to drive Qin Yan away without knowing her grievances. Qin Yan had offered so much to him. She would even risk her life for him. Thus, he must have a conscience. If not, he did not qualify to be a man. Forget it. Mu Ling smiled wryly. I shall return. Go and find out the girl's identity immediately and come back to me. Yes, young master. After Han Ning responded, he immediately disappeared. Mu Ling looked in the direction in which Suyi had left. He regained his composure after quite a while and went in a different direction. Luyun Kingdom. At the Imperial Court. The Imperial Court was silent. The silence was very deafening. Everyone squinted and looked at the woman sitting next to Feng Ruqing in disbelief. Everyone was astonished and stunned. The woman wore a phoenix coronet and the robes of rank. She was fascinating and beautiful, just like she was decades ago, magnificent and majestic as usual. Ministers. There is something that I want to announce this morning. The Empress is back. His voice was like a heavy stick that knocked on everyone's head. The ministers' bodies were shaking, and they were in disbelief. Empress. Isn't the Empress dead? How can she be alive? But there was one thing that could not be denied: the ministers were full of joy when they heard about Empress Nalan's return. Because this was their Empress. As long as she was there, no one dared to encroach on the Empress position of Luyun Kingdom. Back then, many ministers were very dissatisfied with Nalan Yen being Feng Tianyu's favorite. They thought that the emperor should treat other concubines equally too. Chapter 540. The emperor who ran away. For the emperor had not listened and only favored Nalan Yen. At that time, many people had prejudices against Nalan Yen. Especially those who sent their own girls to the harem. The emperor neglected the girls and left them alone after they entered the palace. Naturally, the blame fell on Nalan Yen, who was accused of seducing the emperor. Until Nalan Yan's death, numerous people suddenly realized Empress Nalan's importance to this country. With her, Luyun Kingdom never had to worry about the enemy's invasion. All ministers pay respect to the Empress. The ministers kneeled down and their voices were high with obvious excitement. Nalan Yen spoke calmly. I heard that Luyun Kingdom was in dire straits some time ago. I am impressed that many ministers were involved in this matter. However, it seems that there are many ministers who went missing. What about them? Did they sacrifice heroically? Nalan Zhangqian sneered and slowly moved forward. As to inform you, my empress. Those who are greedy and afraid of death forced me to punish the princess not long ago. They were already sent to the border. But the group of people had escaped when the border was in crisis. Some were killed while they were escaping. Feng Tianyu frowned. He had almost forgotten the group of people who were sent to the border if Yenner had not mentioned it. It seemed that he had made the right decision. If those people remained at the imperial court, there might be another traitor like Lu Yunxiao. Oh. That was indeed a great decision. How dare anyone touches my daughter? Nalan Yen sneered. In addition, Qing'er gave me some spirit wine before I came here. I want to reward them to the heroes. By the way, who did not participate in the war? The ministers looked at one another, then, it seemed like everyone had discussed it in advance. They all moved 2 steps to the side. Only Chancellor Lu was standing in the middle of the entire court, like a deer caught in the headlight. It seems that there is only one person who is afraid of death. Nalan Yen slightly smiled. However, Luyun Kingdom is not ruthless. Being afraid of death is not wrong. I will not blame you for this. But Tianyu, you cannot use this person in the future. If he is in danger, he will run away. He will cause trouble. Feng Tianyu calmly looked at Chancellor Lu. As a matter of fact, Chancellor Lu had served the kingdom heartily in the past. He was still not the chancellor at that time. Now, maybe he was used to enjoying and just being in a high position. As time passed, he became greedy and was afraid of death. He was also weak and incompetent. Chancellor Lu felt very embarrassed. He thought everyone would be greedy and was afraid of death. Why was he the only one standing there now? I shall let it pass. However, I will need to deal with another matter. Nalan Yen was swift and fierce. Where is Chancellor Lu? Chancellor Lu did not speak. He was so scared that he almost cried, and his legs were shaking. Nalan Yen did not see any movement in the crowd. She frowned. Chancellor Lu, don't you hear me calling you out? Chancellor Liu's lips trembled as he said, Your Majesty, Empress, silence. Nalan Yen shouted. I want to talk to Chancellor Lu, not a weak and incompetent person like you. You are not allowed to speak. Chancellor Lu still did not speak. Ahem, ahem. Feng Tianyu cleared his throat. He then said awkwardly, Yenner, he is Chancellor Lu. Chapter 541, The Emperor Who Ran Away v. The court was suddenly quiet. Nalan Yen was silent for a moment, and she sighed. I was joking just now. I just want to create a lively atmosphere. Actually, I knew that he was Chancellor Lu, really. The ministers were silent for a while. I am afraid that you don't even believe what you have said. It is easy since you are Chancellor Lu. Tianyu, discharge him from his post. I don't want to see him again, Nalan Yen said and waved her hand. All right. When he originally heard Nalan Yan's words, Chancellor Liu's legs were already shaking. Who knew that the next word he heard from Feng Tianyu made him feel like he had descended into hell? His body weakened and he collapsed to the ground. He cried, Your Majesty, Empress. What mistake have I done? Nalan Yen stood up and walked slowly toward Chancellor Lu. I heard that Qing'er was determined to marry Lu Yuchen. Tianyu loves his daughter. Therefore, he granted her power to issue an imperial decree. However, my brother went to the Lu family and said that it is possible to reject the marriage. You disagreed with him and just wanted Qing'er to get married. She paused. Nonetheless, the Lu family did not treat Qing'er well after she married him. They almost killed my precious daughter. Compared to Chancellor Lu, Nalan Yen initially did not have any bad feelings toward Lu Yuchen. At first, Lu Yuchen disagreed with the marriage with Qing'er. But Chancellor Lu threatened Lu Yuchen that his whole family would be killed if he disobeyed him. In fact, the elder brother refused to let Qing'er to marry someone who did not love her. He intended to reject the marriage on behalf of Chancellor Lu. It was Chancellor Lu who insisted that they should proceed with the marriage. Moreover, no matter how angry Tianyu was, he would only direct his anger at Lu Yuchen and would not destroy the Lu family. As for the later, she heard that Lu Yuchen kept on provoking Qing'er for no reason. If that did not happen, she would not have been so disgusted with Lu Yuchen. Qing'er managed to change her mind and divorce Lu Yuchen. But he continued to provoke her. Was he that shameless? Looking at Nalan Yan's fierce gaze, Chancellor Lu was in despair. He knew that the Lu family would completely fall apart this time. Tianyu, I'm tired. I shall go to the Princess Manor first. You shall find me after you finish the meeting in the imperial court. Nalan Yen smiled and greeted Tianyu. Then she left the imperial court. Instead of wasting time with these people, she might as well go to find her dear daughter. Nalan Zhangqian saw that Nalan Yen was about to leave. He looked at the spirit wine that the eunuchs brought in. He ignored the others and hurriedly chased after Nalan Yen to walk beside her. Yenner, can you help me ask Qing'er about the vendor? Where is he? A jar of wine was not enough to drink. He must find the vendor to buy more jars of wine. Nalan Yen stared blankly. She turned and frowned. What street vendor? The street vendor who sells wine. The master could meet the street vendor. Why couldn't he? Nalan Yen asked dazedly, I don't know any street vendors. I just bought the wine from Qing'er's wine cellar. She told me that she learned how to produce wine from someone. Maybe she made it. If you need it, you can just look for Qing'er. Nalan Sanqian's smile gradually stiffened. His stiffened face remained even after Nalan Yen was long gone. That day, the perplexed people of Lu Yun Kingdom knew that the Nalan family's Nalan Zhangqian had gone crazy. He madly smashed all the things at home. He cried and laughed. Some people even heard him quarreling loudly with the old general. Chapter 542, The Emperor Who Ran Away 6. He finally calmed down when night fell. Who knew that on the second day, a sacred decree was issued to General Manor. Nalan Zhangqian, who had just recovered, had gone completely crazy. General Nalan, please receive the imperial decree. Lin Jinyun held the sacred decree and smiled. No, I shall address you as the Prince Regent in the future. Congratulations, Lord Nalan. Nalan Sanqian's eyes were red and bloody. He screamed, I want to meet the Emperor. I want to meet him. My lord, the Emperor has left with the Empress. You will rule this kingdom from now on. Feng Tianyu. Nalan Zhangqian was so furious his body trembled. He was like a crazy person. Such an irresponsible person. Who gave him the right to run away with my sister and leave everything to me? Aha! My freedom. My dream. My liver. He initially thought that Lu Yun Kingdom was none of his business since his sister had returned. He and his family could be free and no longer have to be restrained in Lu Yun Kingdom. But now, ruined. Everything was all wrong. His dreams of traveling and living in seclusion, away from the civilization, had instantly gone down the drain. This time, Nalan Zhangqian really cried. His tears flowed down with endless grievances and unwillingness. Had he foreseen that? He might as well lead the soldiers to guard the border. It was simpler than dealing with political affairs. Feng Ruqing felt the same as the crazy Nalan Zhangqian. She was holding a letter in her hand tightly. Her face was as dark as the bottom of the pot. What does this mean? Imperial mother and father have left, leaving me to manage Fengyun Manor. And deal with the Tang family too. Did Imperial Mother not want to take revenge herself? Running away from here without saying a word. Leaving her behind. Letting her manage Fengyun Manor. Were there any beautiful maids in Fengyun Manor? If not, what was she going to do? She already had a state preceptor and an iron-blooded troop. Moreover, she also had Qing Ling and Lu Li. Now Tang Yin was with her too. She felt that it was enough. What did it mean to give her Fengyun Manor? The Empress said that she was going to find the missing prince. Qing Ling shivered when she saw Feng Ruqing's face. So, she left with the Emperor. Feng Ruqing's eyes turned into slits. Why is Imperial Mother leaving Fengyun Manor to me? There are so many people in Fengyun Manor. It doesn't need me. Xiao Yin, go to Fengyun Manor and get Elder Lei Yun for me. Oh, by the way, ask him to bring along Gu Zhenyang and also the father and daughter of the Tang family. Tang Yin sat next to Feng Ruqing silently. She nodded cutely and softly. Okay, Xiao Qing. Right, Xiao Yin. Can you also help me look around Fengyun Manor to see if there is any beautiful ma? As soon as Feng Ruqing's words came out from her mouth, she suddenly saw a man not far away. He was like a fairy covered in white snow approaching in the morning light. The man had a a man in a leash. Gu Zhenyang was dragged by Nan Xian using a dog chain. He also suffered from the shock and disdain of countless people. He was ashamed and wanted to dig a hole in the ground to hide. Xiaoqing, what did you say? Tan Yin asked. At this moment Feng Ruqing could only see the man's handsome face. He was like a lotus, precious and as clean-washed as the moonlight. Nothing. Feng Ruqing smirked. I just think that there is no man who is more handsome than the state preceptor in this world. Tang Yin suddenly gazed at Nan Xian with her longing eyes and pinched her sleeves. A vixen. Nan Xian was indeed a vixen one. Chapter 543, State Preceptor, How About a Drink? Time seemed to stop at this moment. The girl's lips gradually curved into a shallow smile in the breeze. Her shiny and bright eyes were like a vast sea, except that it was full of him. It was also the same for the man. The man's cold eyes turned warm after seeing the girl's stunning figure. No one could bear to interrupt such a beautiful scene. State Preceptor, are you back? Yes, Nan Xian said calmly. After waiting for you for a few days, you still did not show up. Therefore, I have come to look for you. You don't have to worry that the people of the Divine Herbs sect will cause Fengyun Manor any trouble. I will take Gu Zhenyang away. Feng Ruqing smiled and took out a jar of wine as if she was presenting a treasure. State Preceptor. This is the wine I brewed recently. What about a drink? Nan Xian's eyes stayed on the jar of wine in the girl's hand. He muttered, wait a minute. Feng Ruqing was startled. She did not know what Nan Xian was going to do. Then, she saw Nan Xian tug down the sleepy azure snake, which wrapped around him. He turned around without hesitation and walked toward the door. He threw Qing Zhu out before it knew what was going on. It was thrown into the sky before it disappeared. Okay. What is happening? Are there any secrets between the State Preceptor and Qing Zhu? Luli, Qingling, send Gu Zhenyang to the celestial prison. My grandfather will deliver a message to the public. After you come back, let's have a good time together. We will drink until we are drunk. By the way, invite my uncle, my grandfather, and the troop too. Speaking of the iron-blooded troop, she seemed to have something to deal with. Oh, yes. Tang Zi. The man who had falsely accused Tang Zi being from another clan in Yu City. Moreover, the group of people from Yu City had helped Tang Yu to deceive her father. She would need to settle score with those people on this matter. However, today everyone must drink until they were drunk. There was no need to rush. These things could still be handled in the coming days. Although she had said it like that, she still had a sense of propriety. She first fell in front of the iron-blooded troop after only a bowl of spirit wine. It was disgraceful. Later in the southern bamboo grove, she was drunk once again. She had even molested the State Preceptor and beat him. This time, she must control herself. Just a few drinks were enough. Yes, Princess. Luli and Qingling backed away after receiving the order. Of course, it was impossible for them to come back. Since they were out, they would not be coming back today. After all, they had not forgotten the nightmare that day. At the moment, there were only the couple and a resentful Tang Yin in the Princess Manor. Nan Xian looked at Tang Yin. Why are you still here? Tang Yin did not say anything, but she felt offended and wanted to cry. The person she liked had been taken away. Now, could she not stay with her? Tang Yin bit her sleeve. I'm not leaving. I have to accompany Xiaoqing to ensure that she is not bullied. Nan Xian frowned and his eyes grew colder. But Tang Yin is a woman. It is all right. Feng Ruqing stroked her clothes and sat on the bench. She smiled and looked at Nansien. She said, "State Preceptor, have a seat. Let's have a drink together to celebrate my mother's return." After she gave Nansien a bowl of wine, she poured some for herself. This time Feng Ruching knew clearly how far she could go. She gently put the wine to her lips. Chapter 544, State Preceptor, how about a drink? A rich fragrance of the wine spread in her mouth. It was really brewed using grade 3 spirit herbs, which was much better than the original wine. It was a pity that she could not drink much. She wasted the chance to taste such delicious wine. But she did not have time to taste it again. She suddenly felt dizzy, and her whole body fell backward. In that moment of drunkenness, there was only one thing on Feng Ruching's mind. She had just gently touched the wine with her lips. She did not even take a sip. Why? Why could this not work? How bad a drinker was she? Nansien put down the glass in his hand. He raised his hand and pulled Feng Ruching into his arms. He ran his finger over her beautiful face. He smiled gently. Tang Yin was shocked. Nansien was caressing Xiaoqing in front of her. She tapped her finger and pondered carefully. If she went up and grabbed Xiaoqing, she would be beaten until she was half dead before Xiaoqing woke up. If her face was scarred by Nansien, Xiaoqing might dislike her, right? As Tang Yin was still thinking, she saw the girl in the man's arms slowly opening her eyes. She stared blankly and gradually looked around. Her gaze finally fell on Tang Yin. Nansien noticed her gaze on Tang Yin. He frowned and stared coldly at Tang Yin. "Why don't you leave? Shut up. Be gentle to my beauty." Nansien was silent. He pulled Feng Ruching into his arms once again. "You're drunk. I shall bring you to rest." He should be aware of this woman who was a threat to him. He should have thrown her out with Qing Zhu. Feng Ruching strongly pushed Nansien away. Nevertheless, he did not move at all. Nansien held her in his arms firmly and did not give her any chance to struggle. "Man, go away," Feng Ruching said with a provoking smile. She turned her head and looked at Tang Yin. She laughed desperately. "Hey beauty, how old are you? Do you want to sleep with me tonight?" Tang Yin was stunned. Could anyone tell her what had just happened? Qingqing did not like men. Did she like her? Perhaps this was what Tang Yin had thought of. Tang Yin was delighted and smiled while moving toward Feng Ruching. But she suddenly felt a cloud of cold air lingering around her before she could approach Feng Ruching. She stretched her neck and stopped in her tracks. She looked up and just happened to meet Nansien's eyes. It was very scary. Tang Yin swallowed hard and felt like she was about to cry. Damn that Tang family. Who told her that Nansien had a good temper and was very gentle? How was this a good temper? Just by looking at his gaze, she felt like she was being sentenced to death. Hence, she could not approach Xiaoqing. Luckily, she managed to put her feelings for him to an end. In comparison, Xiaoqing was gentler. Nansien lifted Feng Ruching by her waist regardless of her struggles. He then turned around indifferently and headed for the backyard. In the room, Nansien put Feng Ruching on the bed softly. He stared at the girl's face with his cold eyes. He would not let her drink in the future. If she was determined to drink, it would be better to empty the manor. Feng Ruching shook off him wanting to get up. Where is my beauty? Chapter 545, State Preceptor, how about a drink? 3 Nansien stroked her hair softly and gently. I'm here. Feng Ruching blinked. She looked at the handsome face. It was too beautiful to be true. Your face is indeed beautiful. She stroked Nan Xian's chest again. But, your chest is too flat. I don't like it. Nan Xian froze and lowered his head. He moved his mouth near the young girl's ear. His voice was still clear, but it was no longer cold and distant. Then, what do you like? Feng Ruqing raised her head and looked at Nan Xian. I like beautiful people. I like pretty ones. If they are not pretty, do you like them? I like them too. Why? It's because I can sell them my herbal dish to make them beautiful. I think that my father can no longer support me financially. I could go and sell my herbal dish if I have no money in the future. She had a manor filled with spirit beasts. She needed to feed them with divine spirit fruit every day, and they needed to drink and eat too. Moreover, Biri had a big appetite. If Feng Ruqing wanted to recruit more spirit beasts, her father might not be able to keep them anymore. Nan Xian was speechless. Don't you think that Tang Yin is much more beautiful now? There is an extra herbal dish that could enhance her looks in her meals these past days. Tang Yin. Nan Xian frowned slightly. He said calmly, Xiao Qing. He remembered suddenly that he had lost Qing Zhu when he was about to ask it a question. He had no choice but to ask Feng Ruqing. Who's Tang Yin? Tang Yin is a beautiful person. That's right. Where's my pretty girl? Feng Ruqing remembered the pretty girl who was alone outside the room. She struggled to get up from her bed. A hand came and stopped her just as she wanted to get up from her bed. Luckily, the man used another hand to support her head to prevent her from hitting her head against the bed. Soon after, there was a soft and gentle kiss. The man's kiss was soft and unfamiliar. It seemed like his kiss had gone through multiple lives and finally came to fall on her lips. You only need one pretty person, and that's me. His eyes were no longer cold and distant. They were gentle, and there was a depth to them that could captivate people. Feng Ruqing felt a great shock. She looked at the man's gentle and loving gaze. Somehow, she felt that she had seen those eyes somewhere. She could not remember. I can't remember anything. I want to sleep with you. There was only one thought fixed in her mind since the first day they met. I want to sleep with him. It was like an unfulfilled wish, and she must fulfill it in this life. Qinger, do you know who I am? State Preceptor Nan Xian. Feng Ruqing smiled with a twinkle in her eyes. Nan Xian finally breathed a sigh of relief. Luckily, this girl does not think that I'm another woman. Nan Xian too did not know the reason why he had that kind of thought. He felt that the women around Feng Ruqing were a threat to him. Feng Ruqing did not wait for Nan Xian to speak. She hugged Nan Xian's neck. Then, she got up from her bed and turned around to harshly press the man underneath her. She smiled boldly without any restraint. Pretty one, you're so good, but there's only one thing lacking in you. You have a flat chest. Nan Xian was speechless. Who does she think I am? Or is it because she's still drunk and hasn't regained her senses yet? But, I still want to sleep with you. The young girl lowered her head and pressed her lips upon the man's lips. Chapter 546, State Preceptor, How about a drink? For the girl did not finish her sentence and she fell forward into Nan Xian's embrace. She slept immediately. Nan Xian did not know what to say. It looks like she's still drunk, Nan Xian smiled softly. He put Feng Ruqing back to bed and covered her with a quilt. Then, he turned and embraced her. The sun had set when Feng Ruqing woke up. She opened her eyes slowly. She turned and soon saw the man sleeping next to her. The man's face was so perfect from the side that he looked like an angel. It was so flawless that it was beautiful. But Enriching was shocked and she quickly got up from bed. But her action was too sudden that the man beside her woke up with a start. "You're awake." Nan Xian smiled softly and asked her. The young girl turned her head gingerly. She had harassed the state preceptor and slapped him once the last time she was drunk. "What did I do this time?" "State preceptor, I was unintentionally drunk, yes." "Did I do something to you? Could it be that I was so violent that I forced him to sleep with me?" "Yes." Nan Xian nodded his head calmly. "You brought me to your room straight away. Then you said that you want to sleep with me." Enriching froze. "Did I sleep with you?" The state preceptor mentioned before that she needed to beat him in a fight if she wanted to sleep with him. It was clear that the state preceptor did not want to sleep with her. So, she should be calm and restrain herself before she could beat the state preceptor in a fight. If not, the situation would get out of hand. Moreover, she was drunk before and she knew nothing. If she had slept with the state preceptor, she would not feel anything. Was it not a waste? "I refuse to submit to your wishes," Nan Xian said nonchalantly. Enriching breathed a sigh of relief slowly. But Nan Xian smiled softly. "You knocked me out when I was unaware of it. I don't know what happened then." Enriching was speechless. She had a mental breakdown. What did I do after I brought the state preceptor here and knocked him out? What more could I do? In fact, you might not believe it even if I tell you the truth. Enriching recovered her senses quickly. She said calmly, "I'm not that kind of a person. I would totally marry the state preceptor and I would never do such a villainous act. You think that we've slept together, but I felt nothing and it was such a waste. So, why don't we try again?" Nan Xian's eyes fell upon Enriching calmly. He smiled. "All right." Enriching was silent. Did the state preceptor just say yes? Enriching's eyes brightened, but she soon felt that she was too unreserved. So, she restrained herself a little. She cleared her throat. "That's good. Do you want to take off your clothes first or do you want me to do it first?" Nan Xian was quiet for a while. "Why don't we do it together?" "All right." Enriching smiled. They were getting closer and closer to each other. They could feel each other's breath. The atmosphere in the room was rather heavy. "Master, I'm finally back." Qing Zhu was dirty and it seemed aggrieved and sad. It crawled into the room through the window. It was trying to catch its breath. But it froze when it felt the atmosphere in the room. It was a feeling which made the snake tremble. Moreover, there was a sudden feeling in its heart when it saw the way Enriching and Nan Xian turned and looked at it. "It's over now. I'm going to be made into snake soup." 1. Chapter 547. The state preceptor is jealous. Nan Xian had put on his clothes. He walked toward Qing Zhu slowly, seemingly calm. Qing Zhu murmured something and it swallowed its saliva. It laughed sheepishly. "Actually, I can explain." Nan Xian grabbed the snake's tail. It was like he was pulling a dead snake as he walked out of the room without any expression on his face. "Master, where do you want to bring me to?" "I don't want to be turned into snake soup." "I don't want that." "Princess, help me." The snake's hysterical scream disappeared the moment Nan Xian left. But the sad echo still lingered in the air and it remained there for a long time. It was heavy. Enriching was speechless. She could only pray for Qing Zhu for 3 seconds. Not even a second more. Who asked it to appear out of nowhere and bother our moment? The next day. In the morning. Enriching had just finished showering when she heard some noise outside the manor. She put on her clothes and walked out of the door. She soon saw Tang Zi and the iron-blooded troop when she stepped outside. All of them smiled happily when they saw Feng-Ruching. Master. Soon, all of the women from the iron-blooded troop surrounded Feng-Ruching, where she stood in the middle. You're back. Feng-Ruching breathed a sigh of relief subconsciously when she saw that they were back. Tang Zi was ordered to go and look for the spirit herbs and she did not return for a long time. She was relieved now that they were back. Master, I'm sorry. We've been looking for the spirit herbs for many days but we could not locate all of them. Tang Zi seemed apologetic and lowered her head. It's me. I'm useless. Feng-Ruching smiled. I asked you to go and look for the spirit herbs as a backup plan. It's fine even if you could not locate all of them. You're not useless. The spirit herbs are rare. You've tried your best. That's more than enough. Moreover, my mother is fine now. How could I blame them? All of the people from the iron-blooded troop were silent. They were guilty and felt uneasy. Now, their master was even consoling them. It made them feel uneasy. Master, a woman from the iron-blooded troop blinked. If I were a man and I were 10 years younger than I am now, I would definitely marry you. Feng-Ruching patted her shoulder. You're still young. Later, I'll ask the four-armed ape to give you some herbal dish that beautifies one's looks and all of you will definitely look like girls who are 20 years old. Really? No girl in the world did not dream of staying young and beautiful. But the time would always take away one's beauty and leave some traces of time. Although the women from the iron-blooded troop fought like men on the battlefield, they still wanted to stay young and beautiful. Furthermore, they were still single and unmarried. They treated Luyun Kingdom like their home where they were willing to sacrifice their whole lives to protect it. So, they still needed to help the soldiers from the Nalan family to guard the border even though Nalan Yen was not around for the past few years. And that had made them still single and unmarried. Of course, it's true. Feng-Ruching's gaze was warm and she smiled. You're women. Ling Yun, I see that you're losing hair recently. You might be too tired. Remember to rest well. I'll prepare some herbal dishes for you to treat your problem. Ling Yun's eyes looked like stars and were filled with excitement. Chapter 548, The State Preceptor is jealous too soon, her eyes became sad again. Master, you treat us so well and we'll still be single because of you. Why? Ling Yun smiled happily. It's because nobody is as beautiful and gentle as you are. If you're like this, all of us want to marry you. Feng-Ruching was speechless. Nan Xian was there just in time to hear Ling Yun's words when he stepped into the backyard. Feng-Ruching was hugging one on either side at that time. Her smile was so bright that Nan Xian soon turned cold. Qing Zhu shook its head and came out from behind Nan Xian. There was a big lump on its head. It blinked helplessly. Master, is it because you're not beautiful enough or maybe you're not captivating? Does the princess not want you anymore? The air around Nan Xian soon turned cold. It was breezy. Qing Zhu was frightened and it retreated. It seemed aggrieved. My master is too fierce. I can't afford to annoy him. Nan Xian saw that Qing Zhu kept quiet and spoke no more. Then, Nan Xian turned his gaze upon Feng-Ruching and his eyes soon turned gentle. Feng-Ruching seemed to notice something so, she raised her eyes. She saw a man as calm as a breeze. State Preceptor. She was too nervous that she had accidentally pushed the two women in her embrace away. They staggered. She immediately rushed toward Nan Xian and threw herself in his embrace. Nan Xian held out his hands and hugged Feng-Ruching. There was a soft smile on his face. You're awake. I have been awake for quite some time now. Feng Ruqing smiled happily. She peeked and saw Qing Zhu, who was hiding behind Nan Xian. She was slightly shocked. Xiao Qing, why is there a big lump on your head? Did somebody hit you? Qing Zhu was speechless. Doesn't she know what happened? Qing Zhu was unable to say anything before feeling the cold stare given by Nan Xian. It was frightened. Master, I did not want to attract the princess' attention. It's the princess who always notices me. No, that's not right. It's not the princess who always notices me, but my presence is too dazzling. The princess did not do it on purpose. That's not right either. Qing Zhu could feel Nan Xian's coldness. It trembled even more. Finally, it almost burst into tears. Luckily, Nan Xian held back from glaring at it. He stroked the young girl's hair softly. There was a gentle smile on his face. It's not good that all of the members from the iron-blooded troop are women. Feng Ruqing kept quiet. Feng Ruqing raised her head suspiciously and frowned slightly. She did not understand the state preceptor's meaning. Nan Xian lowered his eyes and hid the sparkle in his eyes. He spoke nonchalantly. They are women no matter what. If all of the members from the iron-blooded troop are women, then nobody can do the heavy work. They cannot even do dangerous jobs. Qing Zhu was speechless. Master, you just think that those women are a threat to you given that they are always there to seduce the princess every day. You want to give them away to the male soldiers. Your reason is so well-founded. Does the princess know that you're that kind of person? Feng Ruqing felt that what Nan Xian said was logical. It's true. I can't ask the women to do some work. What you said is logical. Yes. Nan Xian smiled slightly. Moreover, they should be married by now. But they have sacrificed their youth for Luyun Kingdom. If there were men among them, they might be able to find their soulmates at last. Qing Zhu laughed coldly in its heart. Last night, Master hit me and I spat a pot of venom. He even interrogated me to find out who is always by the prince's side. Chapter 549, The State Preceptor is Jealous 3. If not, why could my master remember the iron-blooded troop given that he can only remember things for a few seconds? Who else can he remember them other than Feng Ruqing and Feng Tianyu? Surely, Qing Zhu could only complain about its master in its heart. It would never voice out its opinions even if it was daring enough. State Preceptor, what you have said is right. Feng Ruqing raised her brows. I'll ask Tang Zi to deal with it. Tang Zi, go and recruit some male soldiers. I trust your opinion. Tang Zi smiled happily. Yes, master. The girls from the iron-blooded troop never had any chance to get in contact with outsiders. They only fought in wars or trained in their troops every day. They did not have any time left. Moreover, they could not recruit people who were not talented or had behavioral problems if they wanted to recruit more forces. So, she would be relieved if they really did recruit the members by themselves. Nan Xian smiled and held out a pot. He put it in front of Feng Ruqing. Feng Ruqing did not understand the meaning of it. Nan Xian smiled softly. This is Xiao Qing's venom. If you want to hurt somebody in the future, you can just use this to poison him. If you have finished yours, I'll ask Xiao Qing to give you more. Qing Zhu's face darkened. It's true that I'm venomous. But I've vomited all the venom I've stored. What does Master think my venom is? Saliva. Although they come out of my mouth, their effects are different. Alright, I'll make Lu Yuchen to try it out next time. Feng Ruqing paused. If he dares to burn my princess manor again. Nan Xian's eyes were cold. Does he want to burn the princess manor? I'm not sure about that. Qing Ling said that he secretly stares at my princess manor every day. I saw it that day too. If he has no other intention, why is he always staring at my manor? Moreover, Tang Yin and my cousin burnt his Lu manor once. I think that he might want to take revenge on us. I can think of no other reason. If Lu Yuchen liked someone else, he would totally cling on to that person given that he was that kind of person. But he did not cling on to Feng Ruqing. He just stood in the distance and stared at the princess manor with his evil eyes. It must be that he wants to take revenge on us. Nan Xian smiled coldly. Shao Qing. Qing Zhu was silent. Why did master call me? You go to the Lu family and burn their manor again. Qing Zhu was quiet. I'm a snake. A snake. Do you think that a snake knows how to set things on fire? Do you think that a snake could spit fire? Master, Qing Zhu raised its head with much difficulty. It trembled and said, I'll go now. Goodbye. Qing Zhu left the house with a swoosh. Soon, it disappeared. Nan Xian turned back and he took out another storage bag. He put it on Feng Ruqing's palm. Feng Ruqing did not know what to say. She looked at the storage bag in her hand helplessly. How many things did the state preceptor gather for me? The corners of Nan Xian's lips were slightly raised. This is from my mother. She asked me to give you this, including the phoenix's tears. She also asked me to give you this. If the white phoenix was there, he definitely would cry and scream hysterically if he heard what Nan Xian said. That bastard. He had taken away all the things from the treasure room. I have given her so many treasures and I wanted to leave a good impression of me in front of Sui's future daughter-in-law. But you did not even mention my name. You bullied me. Feng Ruqing was stunned. Your mother? Yes. Why is your mother giving me these treasures? Chapter 550. The state preceptor is jealous for, it's because she said that you're the first woman who wants to sleep with me. So, Feng Ruqing's face darkened. She coughed twice. Did you introduce me like that? That's right. I even said that you'll be the first woman who sleeps with me when you can beat me in a fight. Feng Ruqing did not know what to say. That's right. She asked me to give you a present. Nan Xian walked toward Feng Ruqing slowly. His eyes were clear and they seemed angelic. He still seemed calm, but what he said was obscure. The time now is unsuitable. I'll go and meet you tonight when you want to sleep tonight. It is a present and I need to change it for you myself. Although Feng Ruqing did not know what it was, she felt like it was not a good thing after hearing what Nan Xian said. Did your mother really give me that present? The one which you need to change for me yourself? Feng Ruqing was suspicious. Nan Xian's gaze was true and honest. If you don't believe me, you can ask her yourself later. The dude was really given by his mother to her. So, he did not lie to Qing'er in this matter. But, Nan Xian was talking nonsense when he said that he needed to change it for her himself. Tang Shi and the others were stunned. Somehow, they felt that the relationship between the state preceptor and their master was unusual. So, they left the place knowingly. They gave them their space. Nan Xian smiled gently. His eyes were loving. Go and look at the presents. See if there is anything that you don't like. What if there is? Feng Ruqing asked with a smile. If you have anything you don't like, you'll take it back, and use them to hit the white phoenix. Feng Ruqing was speechless. What has it anything to do with the white phoenix? State Preceptor. Feng Ruching smiled and walked forward. You have given me so many treasures. Aren't you afraid that I'll use those treasures and improve my strength? Then you won't be able to beat me in a fight. It does not matter what you want to do. Even if I want to sleep with you. Nan Xian kept quiet for a while. In fact, it's okay if you want to sleep with me now. Feng Ruching saw Qing Ling rushing toward her from the outside before Nan Xian could finish his sentence. She was panting and there was sweat on her face. Princess, princess. I heard that the general has gone mad. Feng Ruching was stunned. My uncle has gone mad. He went mad the night before yesterday. He is always arguing with the old general. The whole street could hear their fights. He was mentioning about a street vendor who is selling wine. The general might want to buy some wines from the vendor and the old general was unhappy about that. Feng Ruching was stunned. Does uncle know about the spirit wine? My uncle cannot keep secrets. If he knows of it, the whole world would know that I can brew spirit wines. But, it's fine. I have given away jars of spirit wine as a reward this time and it proved that I do not care about those things. Moreover, I have settled my business with Gu Zhenyang. The people of the Divine Herbs sect must hate me by now. Now that they hate me, what if there's spirit wine too? Well, fight someday. I don't have to care so much. Why do we need to care so much? We just have to live happily. This Divine Herbs sect, it'll go there someday. Everyone from the mainland knew that the people from the Divine Herbs sect had an esteemed position because they could cultivate spirit herbs. She wanted to know whether the present Divine Herbs sect had any relation with the Divine Herbs sect 10,000 years ago. Moreover, Qing Ling stopped talking for a while before continuing. His Majesty has given an imperial edict. The general has been appointed as Prince Regent. The general was so angry that he tore the imperial edict apart and scolded His Majesty ceaselessly. Chapter 551. The State Preceptor is jealous. Feng Ruching was having a headache now. She touched her forehead. Uncle is in trouble now. To her uncle, being a prince regent was much more difficult than leading the army in wars. Qing Ling was slightly worried. Princess, the general scolded His Highness ceaselessly. If this news spreads, would General Manner be? Feng Ruching shrugged. It's fine. My father has always adored him. He could scold him and my father would still not be angry. We don't have to bother about others' opinions. Moreover, Qing Ling blinked. Lady Tang went to General Manor again. She has broken the general's favorite tea set by accident 2 days ago when she went to General Manor. She had even cut down the willow tree there because she wanted to move it to the Princess Manor. Today, she went there and cooked arowana there. She said that she wanted to serve it to you for you to strengthen your body. Luckily, Tang Yin had only harmed General Manor. She was quiet and obedient during the time when she was living at the Princess Manor. Fortunately, she did not go to the back hill. She also did not pluck the herbs there which were planted by the princess. Otherwise, the princess would surely be so angry with her. Feng Ruching was quiet for a while. Then, she asked, did my uncle hit her? Qing Ling smiled happily. Young Master Nalan is on Lady Tang's side. The general would never be able to hit her. Princess, I find that the two of them are quite closed. Would it be that the two of them? Nan Xian's facial expression had grown worse before Qing Ling mentioned the final incident. Then, Qing Ling mentioned those things and the man's facial expression grew better. Qing'er, they're quite suited to each other. Why don't you grant their wishes and ask her to stay at the Nalan family for a few more days? Is it? Feng Ruching was suspicious. She thought again and she felt that what the state preceptor said was also logical. She could not help but say, Qing Ling, go and pack Tang Yin's things up. Let her stay at the Nayland family more. Moreover, warn my uncle for me. Ask him not to bully her. I won't ask her to go to Fongyun Manor. I'll go there by myself later. At first, she wanted to ask Tang Yin to go to Fongyun Manor and bring the prisoners from the Tang family back to Luyun Kingdom. Now, Tang Yin was getting closer to her cousin. She would never break a couple apart. Then, why don't I go there by myself? I could go and take a look at Fongyun Manor. At the same time, Tang Yin, who was getting closer to Nayland Jing, was being chased all around the manor. Nayland Zhangqian was stamping his feet angrily. Little girl, give me back my koi now. I don't care now that you've cooked my arowana. But, give me back my koi. No. Tang Yin did not even stop running. She ran fast, just out of Nayland Zhangqian's reach. Xiao Qing told me the day before yesterday that she wanted to drink fish soup. But, you have drank the arowana soup which I had secretly cooked before. I won't return the koi to you. Nayland Zhangqian was in great pain when she brought up that matter. He had walked past the kitchen that day and he saw the delicious fish soup. He thought that it was cooked for him by the kitchen maid. So, he had drunk the fish soup. When he finished drinking the soup, he soon found out that there was something wrong with it. This fish looked just like my arowana. It's just too much. That young girl has done too much. Stop. Nayland Zhangqian was panting for breath. I must give her a lesson today. My koi. You did not stop when you have hurt my arowana. Now, you want to hurt my koi too. If I had known of your behavior, I would never have promised Qing'er to let you stay here. Tang Yin was unable to stop running when she crashed into a person who was walking toward her around the corner. Tang Yin's eyes brightened when she saw the woman in front of her. She slid and hid behind the woman. She seemed pathetic. Aunt Qin, Uncle Nayland is bullying me. Chapter 552. The State Preceptor is jealous. 6 Nayland Zhangqian stopped walking too. He was outrageous. This girl has done too much. She has taken my koi away. Qin Yi protected Tang Yin and stood in front of her. She was frowning slightly. It's only a koi. When did you become so stingy? That's right. I just want to cook fish soup for Xiao Qing. Xiao Qing would definitely love it. Tang Yin smiled happily and excitedly when she thought of Feng Ruking's excitement. Did you hear that? Xiao Yin just wants to cook fish soup for Qing'er. Qin Yi stared at Nayland Zhangqian. Do you see how sensible she is? You're always so fierce. What if you scared her? You should learn from her. Take your koi and cook it for your father. Nayland Zhangqian was speechless. Nayland Zhangqian was nervous and he felt wronged. I spent a fortune on the koi. A fortune. Qin Yi snorted. Xiao Yin, don't be afraid of this stingy man. Let's go. Go and cook the fish soup. I'll ask Dyer to go to the Princess Manor with you. She's talking about wanting to meet Qing'er. Fine. Tang Yin held the koi in her hand happily. But, she had accidentally used too much of her strength and the koi died from suffocation. One Enchanting, the koi is dead. Tang Yin almost broke into tears. Her eyes were red and she seemed pitiful. Qin Yi's soon turned soft. It's fine. Go and pick another one. Nayland Zhangqian did not know how to respond to that. At that moment, he only had a thought. A lot of his money was going down the drain. But, my wife adores her. I cannot stop her. Luckily, Qing'er is back. Tang Yin won't stay long at General Manor. She would not bring a lot of harm to us even if she wants to. But Nalan Zhangqian was not relieved for long. Qing Ling came with carriage and a few bags. Nalan Zhangqian felt that there was something wrong just by looking at Qing Ling's action. He asked hesitantly, "Qing Ling, this, General, the princess said that she wants Lady Tang to stay here for a few days more, seeing that Lady Tang is quite happy here. She could have more time to bond with young Master Nalan." Surely, Qing Ling did not say it out loud. Nalan Zhangqian would go crazy if she said that. Nalan Zhangqian's facial expression froze. "You said that Qing'er wants her to stay at General Manor." "Yes, General," Qing Ling replied respectfully. Nalan Zhangqian's lips trembled. He wanted to say something, but he did not know what to say. He turned and saw the kois which were swimming happily in the pond. He also looked at the scenery in the manor. Somehow, he felt that he could not keep them anymore. "General." An imperial guard rushed in and gave his report. "The lady from the Zhang family, the lady from the Li family, and also the lady from the Zhao family, they said that." Nalan Zhangqian frowned slightly. Those ladies always had all kinds of reasons and excuses to visit the Nalan family since they knew of the news that his son had broken off his engagement. At first, he was soft-hearted and he allowed them to enter the Nalan family. But those girls had a lot of tricks up their sleeves. They talked with an unusually sweet voice and they always fell down accidentally but surely into Jing'er's embrace even though they had only stepped on a pebble as tiny as a thumb. Those girls would surely meet Jing'er if he did not hide fast enough. In contrast, Tang Yin was more real. She was much better than those girls. Chapter 553, The State Preceptor is Jealous 7 Boom. Suddenly, the sound of an explosion was heard from not too far away. Nalan Zhangqian raised his head and he soon saw smoke coming out of the kitchen. Then, he saw Tang Yin's face covered in dirt. She was accompanied by Qin Yi and they went to pick his koi again. What's so nice about her? Why did I think that she's good? All of my koi would be gone by today. Nalan Zhangqian was so angry that his face was almost green. His whole body trembled. He did not know whether he felt angry or sad for her. "Qing Ling, I'll give you a list and I want to ask Qing'er to compensate them. This girl is sent by Qing'er. My koi must be compensated by Qing'er. I had spent a lot of money on them." A fist hit Nalan Zhangqian's head. He was hit vigorously. He turned and saw Nalan Hu's angry eyes. "Who did you ask for compensation?" "Who?" "Father, I'm just, keep your mouth shut. What if Tang Yin cooks some of your koi and Qing'er eats some of it? I don't have this kind of stingy son." Nalan Zhangqian was furious too. "Father, it's true that I'm stingy. You're no better than me. You lied to me about Qing'er just because of a mouthful of spirit wine." Nalan Hu was angry too. "What if I had lied to you?" "I did lie to you. Who gave you permission to go and spread the news of me having the spirit wine to Qin Feiyang? You're a son who doesn't help your own family. Let me tell you something. If you dare to ask Qing'er for compensation, I will disown you." Nalan Zhangqian laughed coldly. "You can disown me and then call me your father." He would never forget how his own father lied to him for a whole year just for a mouthful of spirit wine. What's worse was that I had even believed him. Boom! Nalan Hu grabbed the broom beside him and hit Nalan Zhangqian with it. "You bastard! How dare you talk to me like that? I'll definitely teach you a lesson today. Don't ever think that I don't know how you bullied Tang Yin just now. Qing'er asked us to take care of her and she is nice and sensible. Why do you bully her every day? Nice, obedient. Which part of Tang Yin did they see as nice and obedient?" He did not hate Tang Yin but he was aggrieved when he thought of his koi. Nalan Zhangqian was not brave enough to face Nalan Hu directly. So, he turned and ran away. He could see Nalan Jing crossing his arms in front of his chest. He was some distance away. Nalan Jing. You bastard. Why don't you come and help me? Master Nalan adored that kid. If Nalan Jing helped him, his father might listen. Nalan Jing smiled softly. You bullied Xiao Yin just now. Nalan Zhangqian was speechless. He did not want to talk anymore. All of you here are the same. I can't stay in this home anymore. Luckily, I still have a daughter. My daughter would never be this cruel like them. Dyer, quickly go and talk to your grandfather. Ask him to put down his broom. Nalan Zhangqian quickly hid behind Dyer. Dyer was so small and she could never hide his whereabouts. Father, Dyer is not an idiot now. I remembered everything you told me before. Dyer frowned. You taught me since I was young that we should be kind and generous, especially toward our family members. We cannot be stingy. But, you're so stingy. Is what you taught me all false? It's good now that my grandpa wants to punish you. Dyer cannot stop that.